ALCS back in Kansas City, Missouri. They are loud. And we get set for baseball. The Toronto Blue Jays and the Kansas City Royals. And now welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. Harold Reynolds and Ducci are to my sides and coming right up. Well, these two teams are meeting in this ALCS. They're very similar in one way. They do not give up. The Toronto Blue Jays, how are they here? They fell into a 2-0 hole, losing the first two games at home, and they went on to beat the Texas Rangers 3 straight. How about the Kansas City Royals? They were the representative of the American League last year in the World Series. They're back in the ALCS. They fell down 2-1 to the Houston Astros. They were down big in Game 4. They had a 5-run 8th inning, and now here they are after stamping their ticket for the ALCS here 2 nights ago. And Tom Verducci, you, sir, are first up, and tell us the myriad ways the Kansas City Royals can beat you.
Well, Joe, it's especially important this time of year the way they can beat you. 14-6 in the postseason the last 2 years. And really it's because all the ingredients of winning baseball in the postseason. You have to start with the fact that they are the toughest team to strike out in the major leagues. They put the ball in play. That rally in Game 4, ALDS, that is quintessential KC offense. Oh, and by the way, base running, not just the stolen bases. This team takes the extra base the way people take those after-dinner mints in restaurants, by the handful. And then defense, of course, you have 3 Gold Glovers on the field. They've played errorless baseball in the division series. And, of course, if the game is close late, a lockdown bullpen led by Wade Davis. Of those 14 postseason wins, Joe, 5 have been come from behind. Kansas City is comeback city.
After dinner mints. They're only wafer thin. Do you have anything, my friend, like that after dinner mints?
I tell you what, I got a potent offense I want to talk about.
Yeah, talk about Toronto, because they just will flat out bludgeon the baseball.
Yes, they will. And, you know, you think about how potent is their offense. They pick up Troy Tulowitzki. Any team in baseball would love to have him in the middle. He doesn't hit in the middle of this lineup. It's the big 3. And through the postseason, they've really carried him. Josh Donaldson, Game 4, he basically won this game down Texas, got him going with a 2-run homer. Oh, the epic Game 5. Encarnacion started all that before the top of the bat flip from Mr. Joey Bautista. Look, they're all swinging the bats. They're hot right now. They're playing great as a unit. But I tell you what, those 3 guys in the middle, they make it work for them. Look at the numbers they put up this season. Now, I'm going to give Encarnacion that home run. Okay, that all right, Joe?
That's fine,
so
yeah.
That gives him 40 for the year. So we're looking at 3 guys with 40 or more home runs. So very impressive in the middle.
Do you like this matchup? We like this matchup.
If you like swagger, you're going to love this matchup.
Off we go. It's Game 1 of the ALCS on Fox.
This is it. The 2 best teams in the American League.
Our time is now.
In the playoffs, you never know what could happen.
We never, ever, ever give up.
The Kansas City Royals move on for a date with the Blue Jays.
Here we go. LCS, Game 1
On Fox.
just watch TV, DirecTV. Beautiful, crisp October night in Kansas City, Missouri. We take you back to Sunday, August 2nd in Toronto. Josh Donaldson hit by Edinson Volquez's 94-mile-an-hour fastball. Things escalated. Tulowitzki gets hit late. Donaldson gets buzzed again. Then Escobar gets hit on Kansas City's side. And it's Aaron Sanchez who ends up getting ejected. So there was some bad blood. Toronto went on to win that game 5-2. And that was really the beginning of a tremendous run by the Blue Jays to just take away the AL East as they ended winning it by 6 games over the Yankees. And here's Volquez, a starter in game 1. First up, Revere. Ball 1. Edinson Volquez, 13-game winner during the regular season. Year 1 of a 2-year deal. Strike 1.
Never beaten Toronto, Joe. 6 starts, career ERA over 6 against the Jays.
Strike 2.
Tell you, even the first strike right around the first ball right around the plate, so he looks sharp tonight.
Still 1-2. Volquez was hooked up with Dallas Keuchel in game 3 of the division series. He lost it 4-2. Started out hot, struck out 6 through the first 4 innings, had a rough 5th. Ended up getting knocked out in the 6th.
Strikeout is rare for Ben Revere. That's the one thing he's added to this offense.
Got him on the inside corner, 1 away.
I'll tell you what.
Just like Harold Reynolds said, the strikeouts are rare. Ben Revere leads it off. You know that. Then Josh Donaldson. Jose Bautista, the right field of the DH, Encarnacion. Colabello at first to Tulowitzki. Navarro. Pilar. Goins. Against Volquez. 1 out. Here's Donaldson. Strike 1.
You know what's impressive? And he got the strikeout to Revere on the other side of the plate. The ball started at the left-hander and came back. He's using both sides of the plate already. And if Volquez can do this, you can neutralize an offense.
What a great first year in Toronto for Donaldson as the count evens at a ball and a strike. Really was kind of a shocker that he ended up getting traded away from the Oakland A's for Brett Lowry and 3 prospects. But he's likely the MVP in the American League. Dangerous in the first inning. 15 of his home runs this season have come in the first as he takes ball 2.
Well, the great thing about Donaldson, and we got a chance to watch him quite a bit, Tom, over this last series. Every day he did something different. It's easy to look at the home runs and think that's epitomizes who he is. He's athletic, he runs, he picks it, he does everything for you. So over this series, it's going to be fun that everybody gets to see him play every day.
He also brought a great attitude, a real gamer. See Volquez, I'm sorry, Joe, with that changeup away. Harold, you talked about the 2-seam fastball earlier. To me, Volquez has to establish that in to the right-handed hitters to open up this pitch, the changeup and the spike curveball. But he has to establish the 2-seamer in to open that up.
Late shift on the infield defense, strike 2. And when the count went to 3-1, Zobrist flipped over to the other side of the bag, and now he's back up straight up the middle.
Yeah, the one thing Donaldson has done this year is he'll shoot the ball to the right side. Obviously 3-1, you're protecting, thinking he's going to get an inside pitch and try to swing for a home run. Now you spread out and you get back squared up so you can take away the ball the opposite way.
Fastball at 97 from Volquez.
I'm with you. 97.
For coverage of this game in Spanish, please tune to Fox Deportes.
Adrenaline is a wonderful thing. He's typically 94, 95 with that 2-seamer. Sometimes he will go upstairs, as he did there with the 4-seamer.
In the air to center. Kane back to grab it. 2 out.
You want to see how a ball dies in the weather right there? That ball's hit pretty good.
To his right is Alex Gordon. To his left is Alex Rios. Gordon, a 4-time Gold Glove Award winner in left. Moustakas, Escobar, Zobrist, and Hosmer on the infield. Salvador Perez is a rock behind the plate. Here's Bautista. 40 home runs during the regular season. The biggest swing of his long career as he's blossomed with the Blue Jays. That 3-run shot in Game 5 2 afternoons ago in Toronto. Ball 1.
Joe, you saw both pitches. Sal Perez behind the plate, moving so far outside, the right foot out of the catcher's box. Bautista 3 for 17 against Volquez. A ton of those have been changeups down and away.
You know, so much about Bautista's bat flip the other day. That's the first thing I had to ask him. What were you thinking? Where'd it come from? And he said, you know, I knew I got it with all the emotions that were going on. And he just stood there and he said, oh, I got to run. And he just kind of flipped the bat and took off running. He didn't just kind of flip it, though.
I'm surprised he didn't blow his left elbow. I mean, it is okay to be emotional in this game, isn't it?
I didn't have a problem with it. Look, if it's April or May and you want to stand there and watch your home runs, yeah, people are going to throw at you. But as emotional as that game was, and we were there, it was crazy. I totally got it. I understood the moment.
Full count.
Oh, I love it. I love the emotion. It really fit time and place. It's probably the second biggest home run in franchise history. Now, if we get to July, it's 7-0 game, and the guy is taking selfies after hitting a home run, then we got to rein it in a little bit.
That is down for a 2-out walk, and Bautista keeps the inning alive for Encarnacion. As you roll the tape backward.
Think you like that bat flip?
Some of the greatest bat flips are saying of all time.
How about recent history? Although Ricky was in there.
This is the best one.
Let's see what this series got in store for us.
Tom Lawless made the reel. He was #1 at the top of the list for me before Bautista's.
I think that was a wall scraper off Frank Viola, if memory serves, for Lawless. 1 on, 2 out, Encarnacion. He knows how to hit home runs. 39 during the regular season. As Harold talked about before the start of the game, hit the home run that tied the game in Game 5 2 afternoons ago in Toronto. Here are his numbers during the postseason. 1 on, 2 out. Volquez. Ball 1.
Well, one of the things about baseball, we always talk about adjustments. And when the Cincinnati Reds let him go to the Blue Jays, you weren't thinking they were giving up a guy hitting 39 home runs. He went back home to Dominican, worked with a friend of his, lowered his hands from top to down where he holds them now. And he feels like he can get inside on a pitch and be able to handle anything inside.
Here's a 1-1. Strike 2.
Luis Mercedes worked with Cano, Santana, Cruz, all these guys. And the big thing is not being able to hit the inside pitch for him. He was getting beat. So he lowered his hands. He said, when I started playing, hitting in the winter in Dominican, it felt like this is never going to work. And then it clicked. And we've seen a different player since 2010 when he made that adjustment.
Home plate umpire tonight is Tony Randazzo. Laz Diaz at first. The crew chief is at second, John Hirschbeck. Hunter Wendelstedt at third. Down the left field line is Dan Iasonia. Down the right field line is Jeff Nelson.
You saw crew chief Hirschbeck he's the third man up behind the plate in the series because Joe Torre believes the third game is the most important game in the series.
That goes back to the 1996 AL game where he gave David Cone the ball in Game 3 in Atlanta.
Scooped up by Perez, 2-2.
World Series, the Yankees were down 2-0. Joe Torre had his veteran Cone on the mound on the road. He always regards Game 3 as a pivotal game in a 7-game series. John Hirschbeck, he'll be behind the dish in Game 3.
That'll be on Monday night in Toronto. Afternoon game here tomorrow. Here comes a 2-2. Moustakas the short way. Volquez hangs a 0 in the first. Estrada going to work, no score. You're now one, bringing television and wireless together. By the new film Steve Jobs in select theaters, now everywhere October 23rd. And by the Quesarito and Volcano Quesarito big boxes, grab them at Taco Bell. Beautiful night, the weather ideal here in Kansas City. It's crisp, but what the heck? It's postseason baseball, baby.
Yeah, it feels like it. It's nice. We were down in Texas and in a dome in Toronto, so haven't felt the cold yet.
Welcome to the elements. Here's the lineup for the Kansas City Royals. Escobar, Zobrist, Kane, Hosmer, Morales, Moustakas, Salvador Perez, Alex Gordon, Alex Rios, Ned Yost. Last year during the wild card game was getting booed off the field, and now he's getting cheered, trotting out there to the first base line before Game 1 of the ALCS. I thought he managed brilliantly last year. He deserves that ovation when he goes out there. In charge of this team, and that's down the line. Off the bat of Escobar, into the corner. One pitch, one double. One man in scoring position for Kansas City.
Well, if you remember the run that they got on last year, it was because Escobar moved to the top of the order, and he will attack the first pitch, as you see right here. A fastball right down the middle. Probably not thinking he's going to swing. A little get me over. I'll get an 0-1 count. He jumped him. But Tom, last year Escobar moved to top of the order and changed everything for the Royals.
He's net Yost Rabbit's foot. It makes no sense that a leadoff hitter with a .293 on-base percentage, who's so aggressive with the bat, would be leading off, but all they do is win when Escobar is in the top spot.
He's now swung at the first pitch in 4 of the last 5 games, and he's got a double to start the night. Here's Zobrist. There's not a manager or a team in baseball that wouldn't want Ben Zobrist as a member of their 25-man squad, because he can do everything, and he can hit, and he's smart, and he knows how to advance runners. And here he is with a runner at second, nobody out.
Zobrist and Hosmer are the most difficult matchups for Estrada. He likes to throw the changeup. Yes, that's his best pitch, but the four-seam fastball up is what sets up the changeup. And Zobrist and Hosmer, left-handers with very flat swings, get on top of that pitch up in the zone.
Joe, Zobrist is almost a perfect player. I mean, a switch hitter, like you said, he can play all over the diamond. I was talking to him about that before the game. He had never done that till 2008 in the big leagues. They basically said, here's what you're doing. Hadn't played second, did a little in college, hadn't played the outfield ever.
Here comes a 3-0 from Estrada. That's a strike. Zobrist picked up from the A's at the end of July. Facing Marco Estrada, who turned in a tremendous performance in Arlington against the Rangers in Game 3 with his team down 2-0. Pitched him to a 5-1 win. That's a strike, and it's a full count.
Boy, a great pitching by Estrada. You know, Zobrist is thinking hit a ball to the right side and try to move the runner, and he continues to paint that ball away. That ball right there is a ball that he's going to have to hit the other way.
It's a pitch that changed his career. The changeup, 3-1. That's a changeup count for Estrada. There's that four-seamer up at 89. You say, how do guys miss that pitch? Just the difference between the 77-mile-an-hour changeup and the 89-mile-an-hour four-seamer with tremendous backspin, so it holds its plane. Hitters think it's rising. It's actually not. A bit of an illusion.
Runner at second, nobody out. Royals trying to strike first here tonight. Navarro can't hang on.
Stays alive. Look, I think they're pitching him great. You saw the swing, the pitch before that Zobrist fouled back. He's trying to get that top hand and hook the ball still. And really, a lot of times you get to this point now, quit worrying about getting the man over. It's just get the base hit.
That's his natural stroke. Extreme top hand hitter, Ben Zobrist.
Leadoff double, 3-2 pitch coming to the number 2 hitter. Pops it up. Shallow right. Runner will not be able to advance. Batista's there, 1 out. And a big out for Estrada to come back from a 3-0 count to get a tough hitter in Zobrist.
I thought he pitched brilliant. 3-1 on the outside corner. That was a big pitch, and he came back with a changeup on a 3-1 pitch to get him with that, and then you get back into the count and forcing him to take away that chance to move that runner with any ground ball. So that was a great job of pitching.
Now it's Lorenzo Cain, last year's ALCS MVP, and a guy who has hit in 9 straight postseason games, and he just gets better and better and better.
Really does. And you look at the 16 home runs. That comes down with a guy knowing to take a chance. I got a 2-1 count. I'm taking a shot. I'm going to let it fly. 2-0, 3-1. That's where you start getting that home run power.
Ball 1 outside.
Yeah, all but 1 of his home runs have been pitches middle, in, and down. Estrada, a lot of times you don't hear, you won't hear it often, keep the ball up. That's what he wants to do with the fastball on Cain.
Had Cain and Zobrist been switched in the lineup, you'd have probably saw Cain bunt. That's part of his game in that situation.
Pickoff play at second. That was close. Good throw by Estrada. Goins right there for the tag, and relatively close with Escobar able to get back.
Well, daylight play. You saw, watch him throw his hand out there. He's basically telling the pitcher, I'm coming. And then the wheel and the throw. Little timing pick, I should say.
1-0. A wide strike. Ball and a strike to Lorenzo Cain.
Tom, you're saying that changeup changed his career. That was back in the minor leagues, right?
He was down in A-ball, 23 years old. And a teammate, Clint Everts, showed him the grip on it. He took it into his next start. Threw about 20 of them. They all worked. And he said, this changes everything. And it has.
Strike 2. 90 from Estrada.
Now you're seeing why Escobar jumped on the first pitch. He hasn't left a whole lot of opportunity to get hits. Missed one there.
That's the fastball up, though. I mean, that's his strength. And Cain, much better fastball hitter down. And guys, keep an eye on the game here. Here's the 4-seam fastball. The game between Navarro and Estrada, it's really become a great pairing. If you happen to see Estrada shake a sign, alert the authorities, because it never happens. Great combination, really, especially in the second half of the season. Pitcher catcher.
Watching Escobar out there. Goins trying to keep him tight, but you know Cain will shoot the ball the other way, and that's how they're pitching him. So it's tough to keep him close. I would not be surprised if we see Escobar run, but I'm watching a cat and mouse game between the second baseman and the base runner, and that hole on the right side that Lorenzo Cain could shoot the ball through. Goins starts here. He's going to try to hold him, bluffing, and then he's got to break off to cover that space between first and second.
To Estrada, they have the runner hung up. Escobar trapped. Estrada feeds Donaldson, and the tag for the out. 2 down. Down to second is Cain.
He made a bad base running mistake into great base running. And great because he allowed Lorenzo Cain to just change places. He got the ground out. You got to make sure that ball goes through. He doesn't. Now watch him start waving to Lorenzo Cain. Get over there, get over there. And once he knew he was going to be at second, he stopped, he did his job. So you got to change, make a mistake, you got to change spots.
Yeah, and Estrada, watch, he's going to run at Escobar right there. He's really got to get to a side of Escobar and chase him back towards second base.
Yeah, and if you force him to second, now you're going to see that runner at first. And Lorenzo Cain sees Escobar going back to second base. He is not going to go to second himself.
Here, Joe, is the difficult matchup for Estrada.
It's Eric Hosmer, runner at second, 2 out. Royals trying to take advantage of that leadoff double by Escobar. It's up to Hosmer. To the right side, Estrada gets out of trouble. Through one pitch, gave up a double, and pitches his way out of it. Good work by the Toronto right-hander. And after 1 in game 1, no score. side stranded a runner, but the Royals missed on that leadoff double. Now a strike is into Colabello.
Colabello seems to have stole the job here in the postseason because it's been pretty much a smoke Colabello platoon, and he's swinging the bat so well right now.
That is into right field. To his right is Rios, 1 out.
And that ball hung up there, huh, Joe?
It carried a long way, and it did. Rios didn't get a great break, but he caught it chest high going to his right.
You hit the ball in the air with this outfield defense of Kansas City. It is tough to find any grass. Rios doing the running down the ball right here. Had it easy. Nice run.
Well, with this ballpark, it's so spacious. Got to have guys that can run.
Dayton Moore, the general manager, has done such a good job of tailoring the team to fit this ballpark. As you say, that really starts in the outfield with the guys that can just run and play defense. Here's one into right. Right at Rios. 2 out. But they've got some team speed. We talked about their ability to put the bat on the ball, adding guys like Zobrist, who swung and missed only 2 times during the division series. So even in season, they're looking for guys that fit playing here at Kauffman Stadium.
You know, Joe, it fits Estrada as well. Fly ball pitcher. The expanse, especially in the gaps, is where he wants to work. If it's a busy day for the center fielder, typically it's a good day for Estrada.
Volquez brings it home. Deoner Navarro takes a ball. Navarro, a long-time big leaguer. First a part of the Yankee organization, and now he is the final out. Most recently at the top of the 7th. Let's go to the bottom half in Kansas City with Morales, Moustakas, and Perez coming up no score. Make a plan to make it home. You can share your play ball moments on Twitter and Instagram using #PlayBall for a chance to have them appear on MLB's social channels. Well, we have a moment before the bottom of the second inning with Kendrys Morales getting ready to lead it off. Then Moustakas and Salvador Perez, along with our producer Pete Macheska. Our director is John Moore, one of the greatest pinch hitters in the history of the television business, sitting in for Bill Webb, who is and has been the director for baseball on Fox since our first year in 1996. Bill is at home in a battle, and for those of us who know Bill, we know that what he is battling has no chance against Mr. Webb, and everybody on this crew is thinking about him on this night throughout the month of October. Hope to make him proud. 1-0 pitch is in a little bit low, and Kendrys Morales up on the count 2-0.
Hey, Webby, quit hitting that button trying to direct from the house, man. Just relax. We got this for you.
Get well soon, Webby. We love you.
Here comes a 2-0 from Estrada, who started the season in the bullpen. 3 of the 4 starters that we'll see in this series for Toronto were not in the rotation at the beginning of the season for the Blue Jays.
It's pretty remarkable, but you think about it, that's how seasons evolve. You start making adjustments.
That's hammered foul. Wow.
About adjustments. This guy right here has really, I think, outplayed what their expectations could have been to come in the middle of this lineup. Remember, Billy Butler was their guy. He's come in, switch hitting both sides, and really added some thunder to the middle of the Royals lineup.
Got him on a pitch down and away. 1 down, and the first strikeout for Estrada.
But Tom, Joe, back to your point, Tom, as the season goes on, it's amazing how pitching staffs change, and you find what guys end up being your guy.
And they went through Chad Hutchinson, Daniel Norris. They went through Matt Boyd. Estrada, they thought maybe a good long man out of the bullpen. But I'll tell you guys, once he got his opportunity, he took it and ran with it.
Batter now, Moustakas. Strike 1.
You know, I've watched this Moustakas make adjustments. Look at how the defense is playing him in that shift. I'll be curious as the series goes on if they continue to stay there, because he's really learned to shoot the ball the other way.
Strike 2.
Well, he has a career high opposite hits this year, but you see the shift there. That's a product more recently. He's gone more back into that hook mode in a poor division series because of that.
Got him on 3 pitches, 2 down.
That changeup is devastating. He's got such great arm speed with it. It looks like a fastball. Right there, that same arm slot that you're coming out of with the fastball is the changeup. And he just pulls the string on you.
Well, you see the downward action on it. It's not a side-to-side changeup where he turns it over. But the vertical drop on that changeup is the best in baseball.
Now Salvador Perez. Pops it foul right side. It will get out of play. Just to finish the story on the pitching, we'll see David Price for the Blue Jays tomorrow in Game 2. He was obviously in Detroit. And we'll see Marcus Stroman, who was coming back from a torn ACL, the only guy, the original member of the rotation. R.A. Dickey, the knuckleballer, who we are supposed to see in Game 4 as it's set up right now. And on the Royals side in Game 4, they have yet to name a starter. Tomorrow it's Ventura and then Johnny Cueto. Here's the 0-1.
And Joe, that's because Ned Yost, Royals manager, wants to see how these first 2 games play out. Here's Cueto. Depends if he uses Chris Young or Chris Medlin in relief in games 1 or 2. The one who is not used, likely to start Game 4.
If neither is used, they're going to arm wrestle. And the loser has to start.
If his arm is still able to.
Let's go rock,
function.
paper, scissors. We don't want anybody to get hurt.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at.
Can Estrada strike out the side? This one into center. Back to grab it. Pilar. And it's a 1-2-3 inning for Marco Estrada in this matchup. Estrada, Volquez. After 2 in KC, no score, game 1. By DirecTV, now part of the AT&T family. The Performing Arts Center. We're in Kansas City, Missouri, and ready for inning number 3. Edinson Volquez brings it. Good moving fastball. His stuff is electric.
It's electric, and he's got a lot of confidence. He's sitting in the dugout. He's watched Perez's ball last half inning. Donaldson hit a ball off him. It's not traveling tonight. So if you locate, you got a chance to really shut down some guys.
That's outside. Meanwhile, for the Royals, if you go back to Game 5 of the division series, their pitchers have thrown 9 straight hitless innings. Cueto 6 in Game 5. He was brilliant. Wade Davis, a hitless 9th. And Volquez 2 tonight. Here's a 1-1. Strike 2.
You know, the one thing I'm seeing too, Joe, is coming off that series that we just got to watch with Texas. Gallardo's really the only guy that really had their number. Cole Hamels had a little bit, but what did he do, Tom? He pounded them away, and it looks like they've taken a page out of his book and is pitching the Blue Jays the very same. Down and away, make them have to earn a ball in that location right there.
Yeah, I mean, we saw to start the at-bat, the comeback two-seamer, where the right-handed hitter gives up on it. Interestingly, he's thrown more pitches up in the zone with the fastball so far today. He typically stretches the horizontal strike zone, a little more vertical tonight.
That one skips in there, now a full count.
Haven't seen as many of those two-seamers on the inside of the plate. We've seen them up rather than in.
And that's big respect for Pilar. That's how hot he's been he comes back and throws a 2-2 changeup to force the 3-2 instead of maybe going after him 2-2 with a fastball.
Well, he's been red hot. Pilar, that is ball 4, and everybody froze. And from an 0-2 count to a leadoff walk here in the 3rd inning.
When you're hot, this is what happens. When you're not, you swing at that ball right there.
Yeah, that ball's down, but Pilar wasn't sure. Watch the hesitation right there. Ball or strike? Okay.
Then you play it off. Oh, yeah. There's a ball.
For that former 32nd round pick back in 2011, Pilar, who had 7 hits in the division series, hit .278, and who is a tremendous defensive center fielder, is on with a walk. Here's Goins.
Let's see if Gibbons wants to play the bunt right here.
The answer is yes. It's perfect. Moustakis gets the out at first. Down to second is Pilar, 1 away.
Yeah, you might not see that a lot in the regular season, but in postseason baseball with a premium on scoring first, and especially knowing your number 9 hitter just had a hitless division series, not a hot hitter. I love this play right here.
It's a beautiful bunt too, and I totally agree. You got to move that runner, and Goins hasn't been swinging. I thought they may hit and run, but why gamble? Go ahead and move him up. With all the thunder they have coming after him, you almost have to do that. Tom, your point was scoring first.
Well, now Ben Revere with a runner at second, 1 out. Revere hit in all 5 games of the division series and has a current 13-game hitting streak alive going back into the regular season. Up there to pump, facing Edinson Volquez, and Ken Rosenthal is with us. What caught the eye of the Royals when they wanted to sign this guy?
Well, Joe, the Royals scouts liked Volquez, their analytics people liked him, but General Manager Dayton Moore, like his counterpart with the Blue Jays, Alex Anthopoulos, places great emphasis on makeup. And when I asked Moore about Volquez, he talked about a charity event in the Dominican last winter, an event to benefit children with Down syndrome. And what he liked about Volquez at that event was the way he was interacting with people, his personality. Moore was actually in the Dominican Republic to meet with 2 other free agents, Francisco Liriano and Irvin Santana, but he wound up with Edinson Volquez.
And Edinson ended up a 13-game winner.
Well, it's so refreshing to hear that his character played into it. You know, we so often, we have all the numbers, we have all the data, all the different things, but sometimes you have to look a guy in the eye and get to know who they are, because they're representing your team. They're going to be around a long time with the big money they're paying people.
0-2 the count on Ben Revere. Runner at second, 1 out, no score. Inside, ball 1, and 97 again from Volquez.
And Joe, the guy that I said never strikes out, he was almost out again.
Wow. Come back 2-seamer. You see the hips leave.
Yeah, I want that
ball
pitch.
Comes back.
Forget the graphics. I want that pitch if I'm out there throwing that ball.
Now a 1-2 pitch. In the air to left center. Kane to his right. Pilar will stay put. 2 out.
Now, I always find it interesting when you have guys that have faced guys before, like Revere has faced Volquez in the National League, and Tulowitzki has, and see their swings and how he might go after them. You get a guy like Donaldson, who was not in the National League, he's been an American leaguer. His approach may be a little bit different.
We talked about, as Perez goes out to meet, that August 2nd dust-up. Volquez was in the middle of it with Josh Donaldson, who's digging his way in right now. And afterward, with the way Donaldson reacted, Volquez was quoted as saying he's a little baby about Josh Donaldson. And in the media day yesterday, Edinson just said, we're moving on. And I'm sure that's the way Donaldson feels as well, except you get called a baby by another big leaguer.
He hits a ball, he's going to call him a baby right back at him.
Runner at second, 2 out, Donaldson. Ball 1.
One thing Volquez does really well is pitch his way out of trouble. Runners in scoring position this year, 202. And he has not allowed a home run all year in this situation.
strike one.
He gets underneath that breaking ball a little bit.
Caught the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike. Go ahead run at second, 2 out. Donaldson led the American League in RBIs. Takes ball 2.
And Joe, you know, I'm watching Ben Zobrist in the middle at second base, and you know, we talked about him moving sides, but he's also jumping up and down and dancing. That can be distracting to the hitter. Now, the first pitch, he was directly behind second base. The umpire may have told him he has to move, but he's standing right there, and he'll be moving in and out, jumping in and up and down, and that can be distracting at times, particularly if he moves into the arm slider where the pitcher comes from, right behind the base. So that's the one thing when they shift all the way over. Sometimes hitters have a tendency not to see the ball quite as clear either.
Great buzz in this park tonight. Runner at second, 2 out, 2-1 pitch. Donaldson hits it hard, left side. Escobar knocks it down, throws him out. Inning over. And now Volquez gets around a leadoff walk. Good pitching so far. Bottom of the 3rd inning rolls in. Bottom 2, then the leadoff man for the Royals. No score. Then Alcides Escobar against Marco Estrada. There is such deception in the delivery of Marco Estrada, that 89-mile-an-hour fastball that we've focused in on. Another swing and a miss against it. Strike 1 on Alex Gordon.
And that's because of that changeup. You get that changeup thought in your mind as a hitter, and you are done.
Ball one.
And Joe, the ball comes out of a very different point. Estrada is a guy who sets up on the first base side of the rubber and is a right-handed pitcher over the top. The ball actually comes from dead center of the mound high.
89 again. Talk about consistent.
Again, that's up. It's more effective up. Watch the release point here. Straight over the top, middle of the rubber. The ball's going to come out. Hitters just don't see the ball from that angle.
2-2.
He's got this nice, easy, lull you to sleep delivery. And then the quick finish. Short strider, too. That means it's even a higher release point.
We got a chance to talk to Ned Yost, who is in his 6th season, 5th full as manager of the Kansas City Royals. 12 years a member of Bobby Cox's staff in Atlanta.
Boy, time's flying, huh?
No doubt. Took over in 2010. At the time, his bench coach, John Gibbons, who's the manager for the Toronto Blue Jays. Eventually, Ned Yost went with more of his own guys, and there were no hard feelings from John Gibbons, who's about as upfront and honest and down to earth as any manager. Really, two guys that are similar in that way, hooking up in this ALCS. 2-2. Full count.
Joe, John Gibbons after that went back to manage Double-A baseball. Former big league manager, big league coach, goes back to Double-A. Was back home in San Antonio.
I think that's why he's got such an easy understanding of how quick things can change in baseball.
There they are. John Gibbons. When he went back to San Antonio, John Gibbons said, I got up in the morning, cut my own grass, went to the ballpark, came home to my own bed. Cutting your own grass, that's the part that got my attention.
Looking at Mets' #1 pick, 74 and 80.
3-2. That is ripped into the right field corner. Gordon will dig for second. And the second double of the night for the Royals. Again, it's a leadoff double.
That's the first one that he seemed to get down. Tom, you've been talking about he's been up with the fastball. That one was in the hitting zone for Alex Gordon. Watch this, where this pitch is at. And look at the glove and look where the ball ends up. It's still kind of up in the zone, but he gets the bat head through and finally was able to fight up that fastball and get a hit.
Yeah, that was actually up, but probably not as much up as he wanted. And Alex Gordon is a guy, he'll take the outside and make it in. In other words, he loves to hook the baseball. Rarely hits the ball the other way.
And now it's Alex Rios. Royals got a leadoff double on the first pitch from Escobar in the first inning. Could not score a run. It's Rios now, Escobar on deck. Strike one.
How good are the Kansas City Royals? You have Alex Gordon hitting 8th and Alex Rios hitting 9th. That's how much this organization has turned over to be a competitive club.
One ball, one strike. Rios suffered a broken hand early in the season. It cost him 6+ weeks. Then he had chicken pox. He really didn't get rolling until August. 4 for 14 in the division series. 1-year deal with the Royals. That's a strike, and it's 1-2.
Chicken pox.
Chicken pox.
Grown man. Those things hurt when you're older than little kids. That's when you start calling home and say, Mom, did I have chicken pox? You have to.
1-2 pitch. Got him. A changeup from Estrada and a big strikeout, his 3rd of the night, out number 1 here in the 3rd.
Well, the Royals are getting caught in a situation with the leadoff Sing double. Do you advance the runner? What do you do? And it's been 2 guys now that have come up in a situation where you don't want to work wasting that bat. You know, and that's why they've not been able to advance this runner. You got to stay within your strengths, and Rios isn't the guy that's going to try to shoot a ball to the right side or drop a bunt. You just hope he gets a hit.
That's when you know you have a good changeup. When you can get a swing and miss up in the zone with a changeup.
So now Escobar, who jumped on the first pitch in the first inning and doubled.
Ready to throw a fastball here, first pitch.
That is fair. And with that, Kansas City strikes first. RBI double Escobar, 1-0 Royals.
Well, and that's a guy who loves to hit first pitch, Joe, and he was not looking for that heater. He gets a slider and shoots it to the right side. Pulled the fastball, first pitch of the game. Right here, gets the breaking ball, and he's right on it. And I didn't think he's going to come back with another fastball, neither did Escobar.
Yeah, that first pitch curveball is how he got Hosmer, threw one to Moustakas. I'll see this Escobar. It doesn't matter. You can throw the kitchen sink first pitch. He's hacking.
2 pitches, 2 doubles for Escobar. And now an RBI. Ball 1 outside corner to Zobrist. Strike 1 on that first pitch. As Zobrist was in a position in the first inning to advance the runner, fly it into shallow right.
Well, if you were like me right there, Joe, you were looking at Zobrist's reaction because he thought it was a ball, too.
But umpire tonight, Tony Randazzo. This crowd is alive.
Now, here's the difference with this at-bat for Zobrist than the first at-bat. The first at-bat, he's got in his mind to get the runner over. Even balls away, he was trying to hook. I think this time he's sitting better for the style of hitter he is. See the ball and hit it and try to drive the guy in.
Right side weird bounce and a good play by Colabello. Over to third with 2 out is Escobar. And what a pick by the first baseman, Colabello.
Well, and that's the challenge when you go from turf to field grass. You got to take a lot of ground balls. That was a nasty hop that hit basically where the base runners have been leading off, and it just kicked on him. He's made a couple nice plays this postseason. How about the one he was able to make against Texas when Prince Fielder was on third base? Took a bad hop the other way. He picked it, got the out, and threw home to get Fielder. So he's done a nice job over there with the glove.
Well, now Escobar at third with 2 out. And the batter is Lorenzo King.
Royal baseball, don't rule out a bunt hit here. And Escobar coming home with Kane dropping a bunt down third baseline.
Donaldson deep at third. Right side base hit, 2-0.
Well, I think you can clearly see the adjustment that the Royals have made this time around. We're going the other way. And if you're thinking opposite field, you're going to be able to stay on that fastball that's 89, 90 miles an hour. He's not going to throw it by you. But you can think the other way, and you still be able to hit that changeup. So that's what I'm seeing, the adjustment that they've been able to make this time around.
That's classic Royals baseball. Toughest team to strike out in all of baseball. That's your number 3 hitter, taking a pitch away and shooting it through the right side.
Here's Hosmer.
Joe, the reason I said Hosmer, difficult matchup, not just because he came into this game 4 for 5 against Estrada. The 1 out was a line out. Estrada doesn't like to pitch in. Hosmer does not like the ball in. He'd rather have it away to extend the arms.
Caught the outside corner, ball and a strike.
Interesting observation, Tom. You're all over that.
Well, Estrada has been throwing some more cutters, but that's not his bread and butter. He can show that cutter in. For the most part, he's more comfortable keeping the ball away. Change-up fastball.
Was willing to take advantage of the shift on the infield, but missed it with a bunt. It's 1-2.
And he can do that with Morales. That's the difference. With Morales hitting behind him, he doesn't feel like he's got to drive every ball, be the guy that's going to drive somebody in from first base. With Kendrick Morales hitting behind him, other than that, you don't like the play.
No. And that was the cutter on the hands. I'd rather have Hosmer, who's got good numbers against Estrada, with 2 outs, take a shot at hitting the ball through a gap.
Or out of the park.
That too.
2-2.
I didn't say I liked it. I'm just explaining why he did it.
Maybe it plants the seed for later on in this series that Hosmer is not unwilling to do it.
Here's somebody in the dugout. You're hitting for a reason. Swing the bat.
He hit 18 home runs during the regular season. Drove in 93. Waits for a 2-2. Runner goes. Pitch gets away. Kane down to second. Kane will hold there. And a full count on Hosmer.
But even we're joking about Hosmer looking to bunt there. That's Royals baseball. We're not watching teams, a team that sits there and says we're going to strike out 200 times, we'll hit home runs.
That's the curveball. This is a guy who's thrown only 2 wild pitches all year. It's really because he likes to keep the fastball up, but that one he just pulled.
It goes down as a stolen base, first of this postseason for Kane.
And I think with the way Hosmer swings the bat, Navarro has to stay back and not be able to go out and get that ball and throw it down.
3-2. Wow.
Loves that 3-2 changeup. That one was left inside. The question is now, do you double up on it, Eric Hosmer?
Well, it's so tough when you have a guy that throws a changeup and his fastball, and I'm telling you, it's coming out of the same arm slot. So if you start guessing changeup and he throws your fastball, it will look like it's 110, even though it's 90.
Hendrick getting ready in the bullpen for the Blue Jays. If this continues, 3-2. Popped up. Mile high on the infield. Tulowitzki. The inning is over. Damage is done. A leadoff double by Gordon. RBI double by that man, Escobar. 2-out RBI hit by Kane. 2-0 after 3. Kansas City in Game 1. switch to the Data Strong Network. Fountains here in Kansas City in this great ballpark. Playing here since 1973, and it was renamed in 2009. $250 million renovation.
Saw Bluebeards at the game.
First up, Batista, heart of the order for the Blue Jays, down 2 now, and Jose Batista takes a strike.
I've always loved this ballpark, and the renovation obviously changed it to make it actually even better than it used to be. Man, it's a beautiful park.
That's strike 2, and Batista didn't like either strike call. And by way of a protest, he goes way out of the batter's box into the grass.
Well, if he does this in the regular season, you're going to see the umpire not liking it too much. You can see how that ball runs, and maybe did not make it back, and the complaint from Batista was there. But the umpire handled it, let him have his piece, and didn't start saying, get in the box.
Got him looking. One away.
Well, this is set up by the two-seamers up. We talked about him changing eye levels. Two-seamer more up tonight. We've seen it on the first 2 pitches in this at-bat. And that's just frozen right there on the spike curveball.
Well, that's brilliant by Volquez and Perez to call that pitch.
Now Encarnacion. Batista still talking about strike 1 and 2.
I'm telling you, Joe, he's giving him a different look. It's not in and out, it's up and down.
That's just poured in at 96, a ball and a strike.
I'll tell you what, I've watched Edison Volquez for a number of years. I've never seen him throw a ball like this. This is the best I've ever seen him. The velocity is a game changer. He is popping to 95, 97. And what happens when a guy throws that hard, once it gets to the dirt cutout, the ball jumps. So now as a hitter, I got to start getting ready to hit that pitch, and it opens up everything else for him. It keeps the hitter off balance.
Off the end of the bat, shallow left center. Kane is there. 2 out. Let's go back to Batista, Tom.
Yeah, listen, when you're 0-4 with a 6.46 ERA against the team, pitch a little differently. These are the two-seamers up. Typically, those would be down, both in the zone. I'm sure he wanted that spike curveball a little more away, but Bautista set up so well on those fastballs. Middle of the zone works, too.
Batter now is Colabello. He made that good defensive play in the bottom of the 3rd. He lined out to right his first time. Strike 1. Talk about Royals pitching coming into this inning, the 10 straight hitless innings, the longest postseason stretch of that nature since the '73 Reds.
Wow. All time. He's still talking. He's still upset. I'll tell you what Volquez is doing. He's getting the ball and going. Watch how quick he's ready to pitch. And the hitters are now trying to break up that rhythm. He's in such a great rhythm. He's ready to go. He's been ready to go every pitch, and the hitters are stepping out, whether it's Bautista walking off or Colabello right here taking a timeout. They're trying to break his rhythm. He's feeling that good about himself right now. He's ready to go.
He's not happy about that, but you know, a lot of people might be saying, what about those pace of game rules during the season? Really not enforcing that in the postseason.
That's part of the cat and mouse. Watch how quick he's ready to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's ready.
Well, I think he's trying to play the game now too, so that he's not up there waiting. But yeah, he was frustrated. You're right, Tom, with Colabello stepping out, then getting in, calling timeout. So they try to slow his roll. Here's a 2-1. That is past Escobar and into left center field for a 2-out hit. So Colabello is lined out, now singled. He's on with 2 out here in the 4th inning. The batter will be Tulowitzki. It's Chevy Truck Month. Time to take and make a strong decision, like choosing a 2015 Silverado today. Chevrolet is proud to be the official vehicle of Major League Baseball.
Tell you what, nice job by Colabello breaking up the rhythm. You see Bautista still yelling. Look, Volquez came back, grabbed the rosin bag, and slammed it down. This game's been played a long time with the hitter and the pitcher playing that cat and mouse game. They got him right there.
29-year-old Troy Tulowitzki. Good breaking ball from Volquez, strike 1.
Watch this. See him slam that rosin bag down. He knew he was in a great rhythm, and he did a nice job of breaking it up.
Hey, listen, if pitchers can quick pitch, why not let the hitter step out?
Doubt about it.
Strike 2.
His stuff is so good tonight. The breaking ball. We've watched the pinpoint accuracy and the velocity. He's tough, Joe. He's rolling. And he's mad.
Back behind the plate and out of play. Still 0-2. Tulowitzki hit that big 3-run shot in the 6th inning. Broke an 0-for-11 streak in the postseason. And that was in Game 3 in Texas in support of Marco Estrada. That 5-1 win. Tulowitzki had just 2 hits in that series.
And I don't know if we've seen the true Tulo ever since that injury. He's still taking. He hasn't got fully healthy.
Got a crack in his left shoulder. Came back the final weekend of the regular season. 0-2 pitch. Got him with a change. Volquez rolling. And the Royals have now tied the 39 Yankees and Reds series with 11 straight hitless innings. What a night for Volquez. 2-0 KC. Marco Estrada back to the hill. 2-0 Kansas City, and Kendrys Morales fouls the first pitch for strike one, cleaning up something I said going to break. The Royals were within 1 out of the all-time postseason hitless record of 11 straight innings. They would have tied the 39 Yankees. The hit by Colabello broke that streak. But no runs so far in this game, and it's been dominant pitching from Edinson Volquez. Impressive pitching. 3 strikeouts, no runs, 1 hit, 2 walks so far, and a 2-0 lead. Strike 2 on Morales. Good pitch down and away, 1 out. Strikeout for Estrada. John Gibbons, manager of the Blue Jays. We talked to him during the break. First question was about them having their hands full with Volquez tonight.
Yeah, he's on. But he's one of the better ones in baseball. There's no question about that. The first few innings we hit a lot of balls on the money, right at him, and they flagged him down. So we're actually feeling pretty good. And they strung together a few hits that last inning, to take the lead. That's one thing you look for in Mark is, he doesn't give up many hits, period. So when they start stringing them together, you hope maybe he's not losing something there. So but we're still in this thing, but you really have to try to stay away from their bullpen.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt it's something we'll talk about during this series. But you mentioned Estrada. Aside from the hiccup, he looks like he's got his good stuff here tonight too. Yeah,
he really does. He's hitting his spots. He's breaking out that good curveball, and for the most part, he's keeping them off balance. And so far Escobar, has done some damage with those 2 doubles to get them going. And then so we got to hold them right here, no question about it. And because we win when we score, and that's what we do.
We appreciate it. Thanks, John.
Okay, guys.
John Gibbons, the manager of the team that led baseball, not just in home runs, but in runs scored, and by a wide margin so far. Shut out on 1 hit, but that's bound to change with the way the Toronto Blue Jays can pound the baseball.
And you notice how quickly he brought up that Royals bullpen. To borrow from our late friend Yogi, it gets late early. You're facing those power arms.
Strike 2 on Moustakas.
It's a tough matchup for the Royals, man. Fastball changeup, to me, is the most difficult combination in all of baseball to hit. And particularly when you have guys that like to pull the ball, get the bat head out like Moustakas and Morales and even Perez. That fastball changeup pulling the string on guys, difficult combo for pull hitters.
Full count. Moustakas struck out his first time. Morales has struck out twice tonight. Did so to start this 4th inning. And strike 3 called over the outside corner. 2 down.
Well, let's go back, and here's what I'm talking about with that fastball changeup combo. Watch Estrada. Here's a fastball, and to me as a hitter, it's all about the release point, where he's releasing that ball from. And if you can get a changeup that looks like a fastball, you're in trouble. See, that was the fastball release. Look at where that came from. Now look at where the changeup's coming. Arm slot. You have a blink of an eye to react to it, and before you know it, you find yourself out front and in trouble. And that's what you have to honor his fastball.
Here's a fly ball into left. Off the bat of Perez at the wall. It's gone. 3-0 Kansas City.
Baseball, one of the most aggressive swinging teams, now with 3 extra base hits on first pitches.
Got to honor that heater, and that's what he did. He's looking for it, and he got it.
Ball 1 outside to Alex Gordon.
So what you think about Salvador Perez. Last year we were talking about how many games he caught in a row. Every day, right? And then the bat suffered a little bit. This year they're pulling back a tad bit. He's a little bit hotter towards the end of the season.
And he has just gone deep as Gordon flies one into right center. In to get it is Pilar. Home run, Salvador Perez has added to the lead. That's his third of this postseason. 3-0 Kansas City after 4. Back after this from your local Fox station. On top, Navarro swings through the first pitch, strike one. Navarro, then Pilar, then Goins.
Some good mics down there.
Man, we're just a guy who's pounding the heck out of the bottom of his shoes. 0-1. Strike two.
Tom, have you seen him throw this hard before?
No, this is clearly, I mean, typically 94, 95, but he's been living 96, 97 sometimes. And again, another ball up.
Off the end of the bat, into right. Rios, 1 out. It's the Blue Jays and the Royals tomorrow, game 2 of this ALCS. And then we'll head to Toronto. Coverage of game 2 tomorrow begins at 3:30 Eastern, only on FS1. 1 out here in the 5th inning. Pilar will step in. There's a ball up from Volquez. Pilar drew a walk his first time up. 7 for 21 this postseason, hit .278, and just took over center field.
How about some of the plays he's made this year? Climbing the wall, diving everywhere.
Even in this postseason.
Yes.
Great play made in game 5. Here comes a 2-0. That's a strike. 2-1.
I think watching him on a daily basis in the postseason here, you knew he made great defensive plays, but I didn't know he swung the bat as well as he could swing. He's been hot swinging the bat. Pretty good hitter.
Trying to get on with 1 out. Up to get it, fouls it out of play right side. 2-2.
Just shaking my head watching Volquez work up consistently in the zone. I think the Blue Jays are as well.
Well, when you're throwing as hard, he's got a little extra giddy up tonight. And when you can throw with a little bit extra, you can go up in the zone. And maybe he can't get it down lower like he'd like to, and he's living up top. But when you got 97, you can live up there and get away with it.
2 hops, now another to Zobrist. 2 out. Well, you know better than I, Harold, that major league hitters rely on video now more than ever, and they look at pitching patterns and they watch a guy. It's on a loop in the clubhouse all day before the game starts, and so they watch individual at bats and how a certain pitcher will attack hitters. Throw the video out for the most part because, as you said, Tom, it's more up and down with the strikes, and it's harder than we've seen more consistently from Volquez. Ball 1.
No doubt about it. And they do. They watch it on a loop. You got an idea. And these guys have had at bats. And the two that have really kind of told me the story are Tulowitzki and Revere, who come from the National League. They've seen him a lot. And they're shaking their heads. Then I know something looks different to them.
And this is a guy with a lot of tags on his luggage. I mean, he's pitched for 6 different teams. Just 2 years ago, released by the San Diego Padres. Rebuilt his delivery last year in Pittsburgh.
I like the pace that he's working. And when you get a guy that you're able to do that with, and I think sometimes your defense helps you with that too. Don't overthink it. You look at this defense behind you. Get the ball, throw it.
Listen, when you've got that kind of stuff, you can't wait to throw the next pitch. Reminds me of Dwight Gooden back in '85. His stuff was so good. Once he had a run, he would root for his teammates to go out 1, 2, 3. He couldn't wait to get back to the mound. I got enough runs, guys.
2-1 the count on Ryan Goins. He dropped down a sacrifice bunt his first time. That's into center field, and the second hit of the night for Toronto to keep this inning alive.
You want to know how loose and how close this team is? They were all over Goins today. Get a hit, man. Let's go. Do something in the postseason. He's like, I've been advancing runners. I'm doing my job. And how about my defense? Have I been picking it? So they're all going back and forth at each other. It's nice to see him get a base hit.
Now 1 for 18 this postseason. So good for him. And now back to the top of the order, and Ben Revere, who's 0 for 2.
Trade deadline, Ben Revere is one of the most sought after players in the game. About 5 teams lined up trying to get him. You wouldn't think that, but that value of a guy that can lead off and start things at the top of the order, and it's so different than the game we're playing today. It puts the ball in play, Tom.
Yeah, I don't think Goins is running here down 2 or 3, but one thing about Volquez, slow to the plate. He's about a 1-3. High leg kick, long arm swing.
To third on a broken bat. Moustakas inning over. Halfway through it. And the headliner in game 1 of this ALCS, Edinson Volquez, dealing against the Blue Jays. Baseball. Down below, we start the bottom of the 5th inning. Royals batting here in game 1, up 3-0. Number 9 man is Alex Rios. Up there ready to pump. Strike 1.
I was mesmerized by that Argyle pattern in the grass. Love to do that in my front yard.
It's a lot of work.
That's strike 2.
Joe has a guy that does his long like that.
Moving on.
Not John Gibbons. We know he cuts his off.
Yo. Tell you what, as a defender, that ball rolling through that is nightmares. It wiggles everywhere on you when it's coming through those patterns. Looks pretty, but you don't like that ball rolling through there at you as an outfielder.
One and 2 the count on Rios, who struck out his first time. That is driven down the line. It is foul. Left field umpire Dan Iasonia had it the whole way.
Another fastball. Just hooked it foul. And that barely missed. See the hook on this ball. I think he comes back with the changeup. We watched a home run from Perez on a fastball. Right there, Rios just missed one. His best pitch has been his changeup all night. Came back with another heater. I think a changeup gets him out.
Really hard to think along with Yano Navarro. Blue Jays think of him as one of the premier game callers in baseball.
2-2. Aaron Andrews, it's been a long wait for Alex Rios to play in October baseball.
Yeah, he had played 1,691 straight games before making it into the postseason. He was one of the heroes in Game 4 of the ALDS. He had a huge Game 5. Ned Yost saying in the post-press conference that he was just happy for the guy. You guys mentioned he had broken his hand. He had chicken pox. Done so much to make it into the postseason. Just one note on the whole chicken pox thing. Ned Yost saying to us when he contracted it, you'd never seen 25 guys get on the phone with their mom to actually see if they had ever had chicken pox in their life.
And Kelvin Herrera is the only one that contracted it on the team. Rios was lost for 8 days. As we said, thanks Aaron, as we said, really started to find his groove at the plate here toward the end of this one-year deal in the month of August as Escobar stands in. He's seen 2 pitches. He's hit 2 doubles. And now he takes a ball.
He actually took a pitch.
It's a ball, though. So that's okay.
Usually it doesn't matter to him.
1 out. Left side, good pick by Donaldson. 2 out.
Tell you what, Josh Donaldson has improved so much on the defensive side. We talk a lot about the offense because he's put up such big numbers. But this guy was a catcher before they converted him to third base. And the last couple seasons, and particularly this year, he's put together a tremendous defensive season. But I've watched the growth in this guy, and that all comes from great work ethic.
Catcher, and he was a catcher in the Cubs organization. Traded to Oakland for a couple of pitchers, one of which Chad Godin years back. Rich Harden the other. Here's a fly ball down the right field line. Coming to get it is Bautista. And a 1-2-3 inning for Marco Estrada. The big bats are coming up for Toronto, including net guy Josh Donaldson. Blue Jays down 3. by Cialis and by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV, now a part of the AT&T family. All right, the Toronto Blue Jays trying to kick it into gear. They have the right guys coming up, the 2, 3, and 4 hitters. Donaldson first up. Ball one outside. The Blue Jays led the big leagues this year with their 12 come from behind victories, and they trailed by 3 or more runs. They trailed by 3 here in the 6th inning, and their runs can come in bunches. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Donaldson's hit 2 balls I consider on the nose. The ball hit the S-bar, the ground ball, and the fly ball he hit the cane his first time up. So there's a guy you want to get started. This is the guy that starts the rally for you. He had the best passes all day of anybody.
Toronto scored over 800 runs this season, averaged 5.5 runs per game. By far the most. The Yankees were number 2. 127 runs fewer than Toronto.
That's a lot of runs.
Joe, always a critical point in the game. 3rd time around facing the lineup, especially when you're at the middle of the order. But so far with Volquez's stuff, I'm not sure it matters.
Here is a 2-1. Breaking ball is in for a strike. 2-2.
That's the equalizer. We talked about the velocity and how hard he's throwing, but you have to honor it. Now watch Donaldson. His first movement is going to be looking for a fastball, then the breaking ball breaks off on you. Right here. He's looking heater, 95. You got to honor it, then boom, he freezes him.
In on the hand. Still 2-2.
It's almost like he found a new toy. Relationship with him and Johnny Cueto has really helped Volquez too. Talking pitching, but just having that close companion.
That ball stayed up a bit. The count's still 2-2.
Yeah, but again, that curveball, that Donaldson off balance. Good job just to get any part of the bat on that one. How much of the bat?
Very little. But
not much at all.
But again, he's got to look for that heater.
Donaldson trying to get something started for the Blue Jays, down by 3. Full count, good at bat. Bautista next, then Encarnacion, then Colabello.
Body language will tell you a lot. All of a sudden, Volquez is slowing down, questioning himself a little bit.
.96 from the right-hander. This has been a postseason that's been filled with some thrilling comebacks, some crazy comebacks.
Sure has. That game the other night in Houston when the Royals came back, incredible.
Another 3-2 pitch. A walk to start the inning. And the 3rd walk handed out by Edinson Volquez.
Well, we've talked about the extreme velocity tonight, but velocity means nothing without command. Take a look at where these pitches are, all on the outskirts of the zone. If the Jays are waiting for a pitch in the middle, they'll be waiting all night with this command, especially with the fastball up, hitting all quadrants of the zone, but staying out of the middle of the zone. Again, Joe, we talked about 3rd time around. It looked like mixing in the breaking ball more.
Yeah,
and that last one, 3-2, out of the zone.
Dave Island, the pitching coach, on the right. As Bautista takes a strike.
I didn't like the pitch to Donaldson. You're throwing too hard. You're around the plate. I think he overthought it because now you move to the power even more. And you make him earn that base right there instead of a 3-2 breaking pitch that walks him to start the inning.
Bautista's jawing with a home plate umpire.
This has been going on all night.
But the difference there, you can talk to an ump when your head's down and not drop 50,000 people into the conversation.
Strike 2.
You know, when you're not stepping out of the box like you did the first time or turn around looking at the umpire, pretty much you can say something. Hey, that ball's not a good pitch. I don't like that. I think that's off the plate. You got to help me out here. And the umpire's not, you're not drawing attention to the conversation from onlookers.
The attention right now is on Volquez and Bautista. The 0-2 pitch. With a man on at first and nobody out. Fouled left side. That ball will get out of play. The story for Bautista is, it's been told many times. He's been an all-star every year since 2010. He came to Toronto in 2008. He was a part-time player and a guy that was more of a complimentary piece on a roster. And it's just remarkable the turnaround that his career has made. Actually played 13 games with Kansas City in 2004. He bounced all over the place in 2004. 4 different big league teams. All he's done is hit in a Blue Jay uniform, especially since 2010. That is foul down the left field line.
I was talking to Jose about that. I said, what was the big adjustment? What did you do? He said, I had to start earlier. I never gave myself a chance to see the ball. I said, are you any bigger? He said, no, I'm basically the same size. But what he's done is he's added a leg kick, which generates a lot more speed and bat speed through the zone. But also, by starting earlier, he's now able to see the ball and generate all its power through it. It's almost like taking a jab at somebody and having all your force going instead of moving body parts to make contact.
Since 2010, he has the most home runs across baseball. He waits for another 0-2. Blocked by Perez.
You know, Joe, sometimes emotions can get the better of a player. With Jose Bautista, plays better when he's angry. John Gibbons telling us, I don't try to rein him in. And right now, that's an angry man. He does not like the strike zone tonight. That's part of his game. He thrives off that.
Volquez is playing himself in the fire. He did it with Donaldson, you end up walking it. Flirting around with Bautista a little bit too much. And that's why that guy's up in the bullpen already. Ned Yost sees it. We went through it. We watched how quick he was working.
It's almost as if he told himself, third time around, I have to attack them differently.
Funny thing is, he didn't have to because they hadn't seen the guy that they saw the first 2 rounds at all.
Here comes a 2-2 pitch. Off the hands, back, and out of play. If there is one distinct advantage in this series coming in, it's the Kansas City bullpen.
True.
With the advantage and the ability to shorten games with a combination of Herrera, who's up right now, and Madsen. And Wade Davis has been absolutely locked down, lights out closer. They can mix and match and shut down any offense. Here comes a 2-2. Down and away, a full count.
Tell you what, that's why you fight for the zone. That's why you fight. You feel like you know your zone. You're going to let this guy behind there know you know it too.
Timeout. It was taken by Salvador Perez.
It's almost as if Sal wanted to think about that again. 2 straight changeups. Do you triple up with his best pitch?
It's good, T.O. They're flirting with fire, if you ask me. I just think we're not seeing the same pitcher that we saw the first 5 innings of this game.
And he will.
Back-to-back walks to start the inning. And Dave Island will come out and talk to the right-hander Volquez. Budweiser game summary. Estrada has allowed 3 runs on 5 hits through 5. Now here's Volquez pitching in the 6th inning, and he has walked his 4th of the night. Walks are a problem and always have been for Volquez. Escobar a big night. Kane now with a 10-game postseason hitting streak as he drove in a run, the 2nd run of that 3rd inning. But Volquez came in, Tom, among active pitchers with the highest walk per 9 innings pitched ratio in the game. And here he is, back-to-back walks in the 6th inning. And he's 1 bad pitch away from letting a lead get away and maybe exiting this game.
And I'm not surprised he threw another changeup 3-2 because that's his best pitch. But I am surprised because that's not his best pitch tonight. The fastball has been the best pitch.
Yeah, he's going to shake himself when he goes back and looks at this. It looks like his confidence has totally been zapped. And now he gets excited because he's in trouble. They're in the middle of this order.
Encarnacion 0 for 2. 40 home runs total this season, including 1 2 nights ago in Game 5 of the division series. Tying run at the plate. Strike 1.
You know, Joe, here's where the challenge of facing the Blue Jays comes in. Most orders you get through 3, 4, 5, you can take a little bit of a breath. Here comes Colabella, and then all of a sudden here comes Tulo. You know, and that's what Tulowitzki brings down there, sitting in the 6th hole of a lineup. So now you're fighting through the middle of this order is extended. That's what he's facing right now. That's a challenge.
Strike 2.
Joe, Dave Island came out to the mound, and what have we seen since?
Throw your fastball.
2 straight fastballs to a great fastball hitter that he was late on.
You know, the funny thing is, I think pitchers, particularly in the American League, forget how hard it is to hit. And they get away from the challenge. Here's my fastball. I dare you to hit it.
In the dirt, blocked by Perez, ball 1. Volquez got to 2 strikes on Donaldson, lost him. Got to 2 strikes on Bautista, lost him.
So you talked about Donaldson being a catcher, right? And I'm watching Perez's signs. I would have to change them because Donaldson's figured out this sequence standing out there that long.
He's the runner at 2nd with Bautista at 1st. Strikeout number 4 to go with the 4 walks and a big first out here in the 6th.
Message delivered, message received. Fastball 94 late, fastball 95 late. The changeup now to get him off the speed of the fastball and right back to it on the paint. Pitched himself into trouble by going soft. At least for 1 out, got himself out of trouble with the heat.
One guy's shaking his head, one guy's nodding his head, and the guy that was nodding is the one that matters. Home plate umpire Tony Randazzo. 2 on 1 out for Colabello.
Talking with the trainer here. We've seen Encarnacion with the jacket on most of the day. Jammed that thumb when he fouled a couple balls back.
He's the DH. Colabello has a hit. Off the hands. Another fastball from Volquez. Strike one.
Well, managers are good at math, Joe, and they're doing it right now. Ned Yost, 3-run lead, 2 on, but he's got a guy on the mound who keeps the ball in the ballpark. So the math not that difficult for Ned Yost right now, trusting this guy who keeps the ball, especially with runners in scoring position, in the ballpark better than anybody else in baseball. Check out this number here. Those are 2 relief pitchers behind him. No starting pitchers on this list. Most opponent at bats with runners in scoring position. No home runs.
And during the regular season,
you saw Sam Dyson on that list before Jose Bautista changed that.
Made me laugh at that one, Tom.
Runners on at first and second. 1 out. 1 ball, 1 strike. And along with the lack of home runs with runners in scoring position, among American League pitchers, Volquez was 5th, the lowest batting average allowed with runners in scoring position, as batters hit just 208 against him.
I thought it was interesting. Donaldson broke like he was going to steal second. He got a big lead at first by Bautista. And they're messing with Volquez again, get him out of that rhythm. He's in a good rhythm again.
Ball 2.
Right there, that little extra look. He gave 2 looks back to Donaldson and then come to deliver, and it's enough to miss the strike. Little cat and mouse, I love it. Watch it. Here's his looks. Watch his look right here. Another one right there, just enough that you're not going to pick up that target and just zero in on it like he was zeroing in before. That's what the bluff from Donaldson kind of changed things for a little bit.
He also caused Zobrist to move up a little bit to keep him honest. And we saw Colabello already in this series, this postseason, hit the ball the other way.
And there's a spin move. Now all of a sudden the attention is off the hitter and the glove, and it's on the base runner, where it should not be if you're Volquez. They're not running in this situation. Down 3 with the middle, the power coming too. They still got power. He's not going to run. He's doing you a favor if he does.
An Eddie chant from the fans here at Kauffman Stadium for Volquez. Strike 2.
Changeup. He's thrown more than 800 of those this year. No home runs allowed on that pitch.
You may as well change that and call it the Volquez grip or Vulcan grip.
That was pitch number 100 on the night. Here's a 2-2. Popped up. Right side, foul ball, and just out of the reach of Eric Hosmer.
You get a different feel about this Royal team than last year when we were here at this time.
Yeah, and I think Ned Yost said it best before the game when he said, you know, last year we were in some ways surprised to get into this position. This year they expected it. They're a better team in 2015.
Yeah, once you get all the way where they're at, it's not a good season for you unless you get back to the World Series. That mindset pushes you through.
Another 2-2. Another foul ball. For as good as the bullpen was a year ago for Ned Yost, and he rode that bullpen into the World Series, He will tell you that this year's version is better than it was a year ago, even without their closer.
The difference for me is Ryan Madsen. Dave Moore, the GM, he hit on a lot of signings. Ryan Madsen, Kendrys Morales. Very good winter has turned into a very good season.
The 2-2 again. Full count. Third full count of this inning.
This is a good conversation right here to break it up. I talked about Donaldson being out there too long. If you're reading bats, you're saying he's having too good of swings and he's laying off some tough pitches. Let's change our signs real quick. And that's what that conversation was. I like it. I think it's a good move.
I think it's about pitch selection. You go back to 3-2 changeup or back to the heater. I think he wanted some confirmation on the choice from Sal.
Colabello. Two on, one out. In the air to left field. Back to grab it for out number 2 is Gordon.
Wow. We find out how big this park is real quick, don't you? This ball struck pretty good right there.
And now with Tulowitzki coming up, another meeting on the mound. We'll remind you that tomorrow it's a full day of college football across the Fox networks, highlighted by West Virginia, trying to contain the high-octane offense of the second-ranked Baylor Bears on Fox. It's all tomorrow on Fox, FS1, the Big Ten Network, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Well, now, from 2 on and nobody out, here in the 6th inning, the 2 on, 2 out. It's Tulowitzki.
He's had to work to get through this.
Longtime Colorado Rocky takes a ball.
That was a really interesting meeting on the mound because it was Mike Moustakas who initiated it, showing real leadership. Perhaps something about how to attack Tulowitzki, something he wanted to deliver to Edinson Volquez, and then called Perez out to reinforce.
I think it goes back to Donaldson being at second, too, mixing those signs. I'm telling you, as a base runner, if you can tip that hitter anything at all, you do it.
2-0.
Wouldn't you have the middle infielders involved?
You would think. But the leadership, I like your point that Moustakas leading there.
That's something I'm not sure Mike would have done a couple of years ago, maybe last year.
Well, the other thing, too, that we may be missing is the bench is directly in his eyesight. And they may have said, conversation, we're getting our guy ready to make sure that he's all the way ready to come in this game.
Here comes a 2-0 to Tulowitzki. 2-1.
See, he's been pounding that outside so much. Tulo's looking out there, and that ball's in. You would think he's looking for a ball inside the drive, but he's been pounding away so much that Tulo's diving out, and this ball comes back in.
Now 2-1. Tulowitzki hit 5 home runs for the Blue Jays. His first game coming on July 29th against Philadelphia after being picked up in a trade from Colorado. Deanna Navarro is on deck. Herrera's in the bullpen for Kansas City. Russell Martin is on that bench for Toronto. These are some big pitches. At least one coming to Tulowitzki.
looking for right there. That's the ball he's looking to spin on. Maybe it's on the inside half again.
Will go. Foul ball.
That was a veteran pitcher getting set to throw that pitch, knowing he's nearing his personal finish line. Walked off the back of the mound, deep breath, rosin bag, long set position. Do the same right here. He knows how big this pitch is.
Tom, I like your point. This is it for him. You would think. I mean, as far as this half inning.
The bigger the spot, the more you need to slow down the game.
He's been out there on the mound in this half inning for 26 minutes.
Working.
37th pitch of the inning coming here. The runners will go.
So it's a lot like the at-bat Tulowitzki had down in Texas. Very similar situation when he hit the 3-run home run. Seemed like it drawn out the AB, drawn out, fouls balls off, and then boom.
gone 6 innings. No runs, 2 hits. He walked 2 to start the 6th inning and then struck out 2. The line drive out in the middle to get out of trouble. Estrada back to work. First up is Kane, ball 1. And for Volquez, he hasn't had a win in over a month. His last one September 8th. 0-3 career with an ERA of 8.76 in the postseason. And against Toronto, 0-4 in his career. And he's just been dominant here tonight as he and Kansas City lead at 3-0 in game 1.
I thought the biggest conversation was when the pitching coach came out and said, throw your fastball. He bailed his inning out for him.
It's Dave Island, one-time pitching coach with the Yankees, and now here with Ned Yost in Kansas City in his 4th year.
And that's how you use a timeout. That's why you're a coach. You observe, you go ahead and apply your input. And I thought that was a tremendous time to go out and have a discussion.
Kane 1 for 2. Pops it up right side, foul ball.
Well, Volquez may have walked 4, but the biggest walk in the game was the one Dave Island took to the mound after the 2 walks in the 6th inning. Encarnacion struck out on a fastball. Colabello lined out to left field on a fastball. Troy Tulowitzki struck out looking on a fastball.
Threw 3 fastballs at Tulo. That's what we saw the first couple innings with that heater, challenging guys.
Kane just fights it off and flips it out of play.
Now on the flip side, I think Estrada, by getting away from the fastball changeup, he'd start throwing that breaking ball a little bit more, and he's got hurt on that curveball more than he has on the fastball and the changeup.
Big rip by Kane. That 37 pitch scoreless 6th inning for Volquez. That's hard to do. That's the most pitches thrown in a scoreless inning by a Royals pitcher since 2005.
Wow. One thing that man is, he's a good traffic cop. Blue Jays 0 for 8 with runners on base.
See how relaxed he is now, though? He's up and chirping.
His night's over. He's done it.
He's done.
He's done his job. He's gotten it to the bullpen with his 6 scoreless innings.
He threw a great game. He really did. They tried to disrupt his timing. They tried a lot of things to get to him. The stuff was too good.
Here's a 2-2 from Estrada. Full count.
Back-to-back changeups. He pulled the string on him. And Tom, there's that high change again. Effective.
It's not often you see again the overhand delivery. You talk about someone whose best fastball is about 90 as a swing and miss pitcher, but Estrada is because of that changeup and even the swings and misses on the fastball.
Strikeout number 6 for Estrada. How was that swing by Hosmer?
He's sitting on first pitch fastball.
He got a changeup.
Came out of his shoes right here. Got nothing but air.
The 0-1. Left side and past Donaldson.
Strange play. I don't know if this ball hits the lip. Ate him up. Just missed it.
They gave him an error. Pretty tough hop for Donaldson over to his left.
Yeah, it is. But that's all you can rule that one. That's a tough error. Sometimes you get tough errors.
It's 1 on, 1 out for Morales, who has struck out twice. Now a shift on in the infield. Donaldson goes to the right side.
They had to get Estrada's attention. He was ready to go. And the backfield was in motion.
Well, I find this interesting because Donaldson usually doesn't go over there, but when they acquired Tulowitzki, he's more comfortable staying put than going to the other side.
So Tulowitzki stays on the left side, and Donaldson's playing at deep second base. Here's one into right that will fall in front of Batista. Going first to third, and safely is Hosmer. And it's first and third, 1 out on a hit by Morales.
And here's the thing that shifts are creating, okay? We've talked about these defensive shifts, but it's after the ball's hit. It looks great when a guy catches a grounder. You see the swing from Morales. He gets the base hit, but Tulo's on the run now the whole way. So the third, Hosmer going to third base knows they got to make a perfect throw and hit him on the run. So you got everybody running. Tulo's running. He's not at third yet. He's got to run after a wild throw. And that's what happens when you create no angles. Joey Batista's got nobody to throw to.
And a pitching change here in the 6th inning. The hit by Morales chases Estrada. The Blue Jays go to their bullpen here in the 6th. Marco Estrada knocked out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. There's his line, responsible for the runners at the corners. 1 out. Lefty on lefty as Aaron Luke takes over strike 1 on Mike Moustakas. John Gibbons lost a big weapon when Brett Cecil, the shutdown left-hander for the Blue Jays, out of their bullpen, tore his left calf. Game 2 of the division series, so he's not available. Only one left-hander out of the bullpen for Toronto, and here he is. Aaron Luke. A chopper. Got it. Out at second and out at first. What a double play, and it saves a run. You can't turn it any better. Unbelievable. What a flip from Goins. And the barehanded throw by Tulowitzki. Still 3-0 back after this from your local Fox station. The sixth.
Well, you hear Tulo saying, I got it, but there's no shift on. Goins cuts in front of him because of the strength of his arm. Tulo with the bare hand of the throw. It's a tremendous play. The communication, he goes and gets it. The presence to know I got to barehand this and put something on it. Just a terrific play. That's a run that they prevented right there. You got a shortstop, two shortstops in the middle, really. Goins is a shortstop playing second. So, beautiful. Picture speak for itself.
A little bit out of the Derek Jeter playbook. The running backhand flip on the money.
Here's Herrera taking over for Volquez. What a play by Tulowitzki in the middle of it. Goins flipping it to him. Herrera went 4-3 during the regular season, 72 appearances. ERA of 2.71. Part of the great end of the bullpen for Kansas City. And that's 99 for strike 2 on Navarro.
How you feeling today? I got 99.
Starting to get loose.
His numbers in the division series, 3 games, 1-0. 3 pitches, 1 out. Give me the Geico in-game box score for Toronto. Not a lot of hits, just 2 of them. One belongs to Colabello. The other single belongs to Goins. And that's it. Blue Jays have stranded 5, had 2 on, nobody out last inning against the starter Edinson Volquez, and he got around it with a pair of strikeouts and a flyout. Strike 1 over the outside corner to Pilar.
Tell you, Joe, it's not just the velocity that's giving them problems, but it's the accuracy. They're on the black. There's not a whole lot of pitches to hit tonight.
He went around and a breaking ball, strike 2.
That's a great point, because I can't recall a pitch tonight that was middle. A pitch where you said, hey, he should have hit that pitch. Pitchers pitches all night long, and add 1 more to the pile.
Popped up on the infield right side, Zobrist.
And so you leave one over the plate a little bit. You know what? It's 100. Good luck.
Now Lowe getting ready for Toronto in their bullpen. Mark another in-season pickup for Alex Anthopoulos. This is a series that really features a battle of the 2 general managers as well, and what they were able to do in season. Both such a great job of adding to the core group. Going strike 1.
You know what I like about game 1, Joe, and you're right about the GMs. They've done a phenomenal job. And in game 1, you're filling this out. It's like a boxing match. You know, you're filling out what are these guys looking like, how they're going to attack us throughout the series. Right now, Herrera's just going to go fastball.
Triple digits to send us into the 7th inning stretch. Just exploding out of the right hand of Kelvin Herrera. And the formula working to perfection so far for Kansas City. 6 strong from the starter. And now the first out of the bullpen, Herrera dazzles in the 7th. And now we join public address announcer Mike McCartney for the introduction of God Bless America.
Fans, let's pause to celebrate our freedom and those who work to defend it. Please join us in singing God Bless America, being performed by Jennifer Sherman.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet
With Kansas City sparkling down below, the telecast sponsored by Bank of America, who invites you to keep sharing your favorite baseball memories all postseason. And by Verizon, better matters. Tonight's trivia question sponsored by Maytag. Which team holds the record for the most consecutive league championship series games won?
Well, remember that game Trivial Pursuit?
Yeah.
I used to always say if I didn't know the answer, I'd just say the Beatles.
Yeah.
You have a shot at getting it right. So with those questions, just say the Yankees.
Yeah.
1 ball, no strikes. New pitcher is Mark Lowe. Salvador Perez takes ball 2. Well, this Royals organization obviously goes back to 1985, but their current streak is at 7. They won the last 3 games in 1985 against the Toronto Blue Jays. That series ending in Toronto. Here's a fly ball into right center. Pilar is there. 1 out. A sweep last year. So 7 straight. Perez thinking he might have let a pitch get away as he flies one to center, and Alex Gordon will be the hitter. And you think about 1985, guys, and Tom, I know you know the details, but that was the year of George Brett in the postseason. That game 3, 4 for 4, 2 home runs. He's the guy who, with his bat single-handedly, rescued that series where the Royals came back from down 3-1 to win it.
Called that the greatest game of his career, especially because of the context.
You think about how great George Brett was. He was absolutely, it seemed like he hit the ball on the nose constantly.
Maybe the ultimate sign of respect is what happened in game 4. In a 0-0 game, 1st and 3rd, nobody out. They intentionally walked George Brett to load the bases.
Smart move.
It's a game that Toronto won, and then Kansas City won the remaining 3 games of that LCS. But that, I mean, that's Bonds-esque. That's just in a different category of respect for a hitter.
You think that would happen today with all our numbers we look at?
Here's the 0-2. Gordon flies one into center, and that will carry to Pilar. 2 out. Take a lot of guts for a manager to do that. This date in baseball history, October 16th.
Both guys are in the building tonight. Aaron Boone doing the game on the radio. And George, well, he's being King George.
Aaron Boone in 2003. There's Aaron. He hit that home run and was a hero for the Yankees. With his brother Brett in the Fox broadcast booth watching it from high above.
How was that? How did Brett react?
I think 51% of him was thrilled for Aaron, and 49% of him wanted to be the one circling the bases with Aaron in the booth.
True. True. That's okay then.
Here's Alex Rios with 2 out, nobody on. First pitch of ball. 1 ball, 1 strike.
I'm just blown away watching the postseason. You always talk about you're going to see the best pitching, right? The velocity in baseball is off the charts. And this game has shown that.
95 from low, strike 2.
That's why it's, listen, Kansas City is going to have the edge over anybody's bullpen. That's no disrespect to Toronto's bullpen, but this is what the game is. You better get a lead against the starter. Offense dries up late.
While we throw the rose petals toward the Kansas City bullpen with good reason. Don't forget what's in the other dugout, and that's the top scoring team in Major League Baseball by a mile, and the pitching of the Toronto Blue Jays has kept Toronto in this game. It's within reach, just a 3-run game. That's off the end of the bat. That counts still 2-2.
No doubt. And we're in for a terrific series. I mean, you think about it, game 1, and Tom, you talked about this earlier, this isn't the #1 starters for each team. Toronto has David Price coming at you in game 2. So we got some good stuff coming our direction here in this series.
That's an afternoon game tomorrow. An 18-game winner was Price during the regular season. Former Cy Young Award winner, but 0-6 as a starter in the postseason. A strikeout of Rio sends us into the 8th inning. Blue Jays hanging in it, looking for some thump as they trail by 3. look no further than Tuesday nights on Fox. John Stamos and grandfathered in Rob Lowe in The Grinder. A great comedic team. Don't miss 2 of the year's best new comedies. Open to great reviews. All new Tuesday on Fox. Here's one of the real good stories in baseball. Ryan Madsen, the former closer for the Philadelphia Phillies, and a guy who's undergone 2 Tommy John surgeries, took basically 3 years out of the game. And here he is as one of the primary setup men for the Royals in their bullpen. 35-year-old gets a chopper off the bat of Revere. 1 out. Ken Rosenthal, this is a good story in 2015, Ryan Madsen.
It sure is, Joe, but talking to him today, he was still upset about his performance in Game 4 of the division series. The back-to-back homers he allowed to Correa and Rasmus. That's what put the Royals down 6-2. Of course, they had the big comeback. Ryan Madsen made 33 postseason appearances between 2008 and 2011 for the Phillies, but as you said, he missed so much time. He said he sped up everything that day against Houston. He had to relearn what it was like to pitch in the postseason, had to relearn a lot this year.
He's at 95 for a strike to Donaldson. It's the top of the order for Toronto in the 8th. Revere hit a comebacker. Donaldson now, Bautista on deck in just a 3-run game, and now facing a guy in Ryan Madsen, who back in 2011 had 32 saves for the Phillies. Ball 1 outside.
You see 96 right there.
Paulo Orlando is taken over in right field for Rios.
Best pitch is the killer changeup, but he's also been using the curveball more.
And that got Perez. There isn't a tougher player in the game than Salvador Perez. And that came back and got him on the hand.
That hit him hard, too. That's a follow-through. That was a full swing. Even Donaldson, who's standing over and checking on him right now, knew immediately he hurt him hard.
Well, it was a pitch that ran up and in, so the glove moved toward the backswing of Donaldson.
He hit him good. You usually see it nip the glove. This caught the full hand. Watch how much he hits of this backhand here. He got his whole hand. It's lucky that finger that he leaves out of the glove didn't get hit. We got the back part. This is going to be a good look right here. Mercy.
You're talking about a guy who over the last 2 years, postseason included, has caught 300 games. So when you talk about tough guys in the game and just a rock behind the plate, this guy leads the pack right now.
Well, you see that 4th most. If we get to a Game 5, he will tie the most games in any 2-year window. Record, if you want to call it a record. Frankie Hayes, back in 1943-46, with 305.
You know what was impressive right there? He told Donaldson, "My bad."
Right side base hit. Donaldson on for the 2nd straight time, and he's got his first hit. So 1 on 1 out with Bautista, and then Encarnacion is injured. He's not in the on-deck circle. Right now it's Ezekiel Carrera there. We saw Encarnacion, after his strikeout in the 6th inning, go back to the dugout, talk with the trainer, and the DH can't continue in Game 1. That's a guy who hit 39 home runs during the regular season.
Yeah, he came down, sat in the dugout. George Poulos, the trainer for the Jays, came by. Just didn't look right.
Here's the 0-1 to Bautista. Let's go back to that last at bat.
Watch the bottom hand. His left hand as it comes across the right hand. It looks like it's going to pinch it. And you'll see the reaction. He lets go of the bat.
Strike 2 on Bautista.
I like the swing by Bautista right there. That was one of those, I'm going to get 2 points for us real quick and get us right back in it. Sal's hurting. Every time Perez touches the ball from a pitch, he has grimace. He drops the ball right here. He's barely gripping this glove even. He's throwing it into the other hand instead of taking it to the other hand.
Now he blocks one in the dirt.
Never want that job, huh, Joe?
I mean, you just think of how he went through the division series. He got hit with a foul tip and was dizzy, had to get taken out of game 4. And Houston was sick. Before that, just started to feel better. Then he gets hit with a foul tip. Now he gets hit with the follow through with the bat of Donaldson a moment ago.
By the way, my man Frankie Hayes, he started 312 consecutive games as a catcher.
Well, Perez can barely catch it. You're right, Harold. He's trying to cradle it as that pitch goes up and in to put 2 on with 1 out. And Matson's in some trouble after Herrera threw a perfect and impressive 7th inning.
Well, even Perez going out to talk to the catcher, to the pitcher, takes the glove off immediately. Ball running back in on Batista. But look at how he's cradling this ball. That's some serious pain. And you notice the pitching coach comes out. He's not talking to the pitcher right now. He's talking to Perez. Straight looking at him, asking him what's going on.
And you can see how he's trying to just protect that hand with the way he catches. The grimace, and the glove comes off.
So now with that, it's going to be Smoke coming off the bench. Justin hit 18 home runs during the regular season, and instead of Carrera, they pull him back. He was in the on-deck circle, and it's Smoke batting for Encarnacion.
Well, you're looking for a 3-run home run from Smoke right here. That's why you pull Carrera back. You're looking for it. Maybe we can run into one. That's what John Gibbons is hoping.
Switch hitter waits and takes inside ball 1. The closer for the Royals, right-hander Davis, is getting ready. Wade, who's been lights out, is getting ready in a hurry. It's on Madsen now, and the count goes to 2-0 as the Blue Jays look to jump right back in it.
Well, and this is the difference between last year and this year. Last year, this was Davis's inning. The 9th was Holland. So when you have Holland out, that does really, I know they think they're deeper, but I think this has changed it a lot for them.
Yeah, maybe a little more dynamic in the last couple of innings last year. 2 on, 1 out. The 2-0 pitch. Off the end of the bat, popped up. Right side, playable. 2 out.
He did a nice job of taking a little something off that. Might even been a changeup or maybe just take something off the fastball. It wasn't the 95 that he'd been featuring.
2-0 changeup. Great choice, even though it's up. See Smoke not expecting that 2-0.
And now it's Colabello. And they just sent Perez out to talk as they hope to get Davis ready. See if Madsen stays in for Colabello. Persevered through 7 years of independent league baseball. Make it to the big leagues with the Twins. Picked up off waivers by Toronto, and what a year he had. 15 home runs. Tying run at the plate here in game 1. Ball 1 upstairs.
See him blowing into his glove. It's a little nippy out here tonight. And these guys have been playing down in Texas and in a dome in Toronto, so they haven't been used to the cold all of a sudden hitting you.
Hey, Ken Rosenthal, what's going on with Encarnacion?
Joe, he hurt either his finger or his knuckle, getting a precautionary x-ray right now.
So they went with Smoke. He fouled out, and now the inning is in the lap of Colabello. Home run in the division series. He's got 7 hits this postseason, 1 tonight. Chopped. Zobrist eating over. Manson into and out of trouble. The Jays have stranded 7 and trail by 3. Soft drink of the MLB. Up above, tonight's aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV, now part of the AT&T family. And as we go into the bottom of the 8th inning with Kansas City leading game 1 3-0. You see the attention paid to Salvador Perez after the top of this 8th inning, getting hit in the back of the left hand on the follow through by Donaldson, but able to continue. And the new pitcher, 4th of the night for Toronto, is LaTroy Hawkins, who is in his 21st year in the big leagues
and still throwing mid-90s.
He's announced that this is it, his final year, swinging at the first pitch, and why wouldn't he? Is Escobar fouled away, strike 1.
I know he's saying that's it, but he lives in the Dallas area. I would not be surprised if the Rangers said, hey, well, LaTroy, you come play another year, that he wouldn't do it. Who knows? But he's had an incredible run.
He hits Escobar.
And it starts.
Considering what we showed you coming on the air, with the little back and forth and the dust up the 2nd day of August, there's more read into that than would be.
Thank God for the pass.
You could hear First base coach Rusty Kuntz say thank God for the pad. It looked like it may have gotten him the back of the left arm where he wears that.
And, you know what's interesting is LaTroy and Escobar on the way down. He said, "Hey, you okay?" And Escobar said, "Yeah, I'm all right." Maybe trying to diffuse it a little. I don't know.
Here's Zobrist. A strike.
You trying to start something, H?
I'm just saying we got a long way to go in this series.
I thought you were saying my bad.
But the point is, when you have that happen and then everybody's expecting something, it happens even unintentionally, people read into it. Here's one chopped over the head of Donaldson. What a try by Tulowitzki. 2 on, nobody out. First hit of the night for Zobrist.
There's nothing you can do on that play. If Tulowitzki grabs it, I don't even know if he has a play. Couldn't hit that any better. Hit right in front of the plate. Little short hop. As we call it, Kansas City chop now, huh? Used to be the old Baltimore chop.
I'm telling you guys, I talked with Troy in the locker room before the game, and he showed me that glove that he has. That thing is so old, he doesn't even know how old it is. I think we have to do some carbon dating to find out. Best guess, 8 years old. It has 3 rips in the palm of the glove.
Here's Kane. Strike 1.
They told me I think I have 2 more weeks left in this glove. Look at this glove.
Yeah, that's great.
And it's become so floppy. You saw right there, the ball just didn't stick in there.
He's been used to that for a long time, breaking that glove in.
It's broken.
It's broken.
Yes.
Nice.
2 on, nobody out. Chance to blow it open for Kansas City in the 8th. That's into right. Bautista is there. Tagging is Escobar. He stays put. Tonight's trivia question sponsored by Maytag. Which team holds the record for the most consecutive League Championship Series games won? The answer, not the Yankees. It's the Orioles with 10. Between 69 and 70, the Orioles swept the Twins. 71 Orioles swept the A's. The 73 Orioles won the first game of a 5-game ALCS. They eventually lost to Oakland. Prior to 1985, which was the matchup between these two organizations, the LCS was a best of 5. 85, the first year they went to the best of 7. Now 2 on, 1 out. As the Royals are 3 defensive outs away from their 8th straight LCS win.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting watching Lorenzo Cain. You saw his reaction of being upset. I think it's a situation where he moves the runners, because that's in his arsenal. Then you come up with Hosmer and Morales, and that infield's drawn in. You want to play where a grand slam doesn't tie you or beat you in a situation. Adding that other run or putting those guys in that position changes the rest of this game out.
Davis will take over in the 9th inning. What is right now a 3-run game is Eric Hosmer waits. He is 0 for 3. Reached on an error his last time. Hawkins first came to the big leagues in '95. Big swing, strike 1.
Still bringing it. I want to go back to this real quick, Joe, because we saw the left-hander, the one lefty already. He's already been used. So now you have Hosmer, Morales, and Moustakas coming up. And Cain can handle the bat. All right, I'm done.
Cain flied to right. The runner stayed put. Two one from Hawkins. Ripped into right. Back at the wall. Off the top of the wall. 1 run scores Escobar. They hold Zobrist. It's 4-0.
think Hosmer's surprised this ball didn't get out. Absolutely barreled up. Just off the top of the wall.
Well, heck of a play by Bautista, because this is 2 runs. You know, Zobrist is running hard on the crack of the bat. He knows that ball's not going to be caught. And Bautista got it back in. Saved the run.
But an RBI double for Hosmer. 4-0 game, infield in. Morales flies one to left. Making the catch is Revere, tagging and scoring. Zobrist 5-0.
Tack-on runs, so important. Joe Madden, the Cubs manager, calls them jug runs for jugular. Going for the jugular late in the game. 3-run lead becomes a 5-run lead.
I think that's one spot where the Royals are better, and that's at the DH compared to a year ago. Morales had a big year. Hit 3 home runs in the division series. And he's 1 for 3 tonight with now a sac fly.
Totally agree. Much greater margin for error. Offensively, a better team with Morales. And now Zobrist coming aboard late in the season.
Hochevar is now getting loose for Kansas City in their bullpen.
No need to use Davis tonight. You've got a 5 run to work with.
And a day game tomorrow.
Great point. Great point.
Moustakas 1 ball 1 strike. Official caps, hoodies, jackets, and more. Celebrate with your favorite team at the MLB.com shop. Into left for Revere. And the inning is over. But 2 more runs put on the board. A 5-0 Kansas City lead here in game 1. fans to share their passion, be part of the biggest 7th inning stretch. Post your photos and videos with hashtag the Big 7 and hashtag contest for a chance to win tickets to World Series Game 4. Beautiful scene with the fountains down below. This place, they've had fun all night. Right now the Royals pitching, working on a 3-hit shutout as we play in the 9th. 5-0 game now, and Hochevar is going to take over here in the 9th inning. And as we said, Wade Davis gets to sit this one out, at least at this point.
Yeah, and that's a huge luxury. And Joe, you know, your point of it being a day game was dead on. The recovery time. And now you have that closer is going to be fresh if you get in that situation in game 2, if they close this out right here.
There's strike 2.
Joe, I've said when you play Toronto, you defend the home run. Tonight the Royals have defended the extra base hit. Toronto only 4 times this year without an extra base hit. None in the last 3 months.
Tell you what's impressed me is the firepower in which they've gone about it. Volquez threw 68 fastballs, 55 95 or higher. Herrera, 8 of his 8 pitches were over 95. Madsen, 10 of the 11 over 95 miles an hour. Now that's bringing some cheddar at you.
Left side off the bat of Tulowitzki. Moustakas. 1 away. Tomorrow, another great day of MLB postseason action. Game 2 of this one between the Blue Jays and the Royals. The winner of this game looks to take a 2-0 lead on their way to Toronto. Coverage of ALCS Game 2 begins at 3:30 Eastern, only on FS1. Batter now, Navarro takes ball 1 low.
And H, to your point, the Toronto Blue Jays are the best fastball hitting team in the major leagues. You'd have told me we'd be here in the 9th inning, no extra base hits out of this lineup, getting beat by velocity. Wouldn't have believed it. But velocity and command.
Yeah, the command's what blown me away tonight. They had a great game plan, living on the corners, and you don't always execute. If you miss, the ball comes back over. They haven't missed most of the night.
Left side, another one for Moustakas, and he kicks it. That'll be an error on the Kansas City third baseman. He made 12 during the regular season, and Navarro is on. What's on the line right now is the Royals are going for their 4th shutout in franchise history during the postseason. The last one coming Game 6 of last year's World Series, 10-0 win over the Giants behind Yordano Ventura. And it'll be Ventura with a baseball in his hand tomorrow against David Price in Game 2. 1 on, 1 out for Pilar. Strike 1. Follow every pitch of the postseason with MLB.com at bat. The #1 app for live baseball. Stay connected with highlights, replay reviews, scores, pitch tracking, live radio broadcasts, and more. Download the At Bat app right now. Pilar 0 for 2, and he has to lean back from ball 1.
Boy, that was another catch by Perez with some pain attached to it.
When that ball that Moustakas missed has now got Davis up.
This Blue Jay team was only shut out 5 times all year. Again, by far the top scoring team in baseball in 2015. They have just 3 hits tonight. That's too short. Escobar, get one. Can't get them both.
Wow, that was pretty.
What a night Escobar has had tonight.
Well, what I like about this, you're playing for outs right now, right? So he knows he's got to play on that ball and maybe turn too. But the best part of it was he got the out. That was pretty.
They do it every night in all points of the baseball field. Defense, spectacular, especially the range, the athleticism of this team defensively, the best in baseball.
He made a play like that last postseason, very similar to that ball.
The early word on Edwin Encarnacion, 1 on 2 out here, is the X-rays were negative. But he has a ligament strain in the middle finger, and they are listing him right now as day-to-day. So you say negative, I guess, in the way of a break, but a ligament strain is no small issue for the middle finger.
Well, especially for the bottom hand of a power hitter.
The big DH who popped 39 home runs could not make it through game 1. Here's Goins, fly ball into left. This one belongs to Kansas City. As Gordon squeezes it, it's a 5-0 Royal win in game 1. A 3-hour, 15-minute game. Salvador Perez homered in this game. Did his usual fine job receiving. And he caught the starter and the winner for Kansas City, Edinson Volquez, who showed that good velocity, guys. Kept the ball away from the right-handed thumb of the Toronto Blue Jays lineup. That ball never ran back. He deserved the win here tonight.
And he showed great composure. I thought the Blue Jays did everything they could with their hands full to try to disrupt his rhythm. We watched that a couple times. I thought the key conversation was when Ireland came out and said, look, use your fastball. So they did a nice job executing their game plan, Tom.
Well, to me, Toronto saw a Volquez they had never seen before. Remember, this guy was 0-4 in 6 starts against the Blue Jays, ERA over 6. But as you mentioned, Joe, velocity and keeping the ball out of the center of the zone, Toronto never got on track.
In the 4th inning, Salvador Perez went deep. His 3rd home run of this postseason. Statcast powered by Amazon News Services. And that made it 3-0 at the time. The Royals win it 5-0. And he's standing by with Aaron Andrews. Aaron.
Well, first off, let's get to the hand, Sal. How are you feeling?
I feel pretty good. Just hit me and my finger right in the middle, right there. It's a little inflammation right now, but we will take some couple pictures inside. That's what the trainer told me. But the good thing, I finished the game.
Yeah, good thing you finished the game. Take some pictures. We talked and documented during the game. You were physically ill, games 2 and 3 in the ALDS. Then you get banged up in game 4, banged up here. Oh, by the way, you hit a home run. How are you holding up?
I don't know. I love the game so much, and I just like to play. I prepare myself a lot to be in that situation, so I can miss it.
And how much fun, though, was it watching Edinson Volquez tonight? I mean, the guy was just throwing so hard all night. What was working for him?
I think the fastball. He keep the ball down, both sides to the plate. We go in a lot, down, away, everything. He's pretty aggressive tonight.
All right, go get those pictures done on that hand. Thanks so much.
Gracias.
Gracias. Joe.
All right, at the end of a long season, Salvador Perez can still smile. And they're smiling inside this stadium, where the Royals and their fans celebrate a 5-0 win in game 1. Coming up after the short break, more postgame from our studios in Los Angeles.